Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, a change of pace with author Laura Newman. Her new book, The Franklin Avenue Rookery for Wayward Babies and Other Stories, coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're delighted to welcome back to the program Laura Newman. She is an author. She's just come out with her second book, which is called The Franklin Avenue Rookery for Wayward Babies and Other Stories. It is a pleasure to have you back. In the middle of all the craziness that's going on in our world, this is going to be a totally positive, fun show for people to listen to and enjoy, and then to buy your book. Okay? So we will mention that multiple times throughout the program. So let me start out with, why did you start writing short stories?
Oh my goodness, Sam. I think because all of my stories revolve around maybe 3 central crazy scenes in my head. And so I didn't have the thought process of an entire plot. I don't think in a whole entire plot. I think in, oh, that's kind of an interesting thing to write about, and I just want to write about something small, and I'll build the story around 2 or 3 central ideas. So that therefore it's going to be a short story.
Okay, you won multiple years in the Reno News and Review for Best Short Stories. So you were already very popular for a long time in the local paper, and that led to the success of your first book. It's been an interesting path watching you getting towards this second book, because you retired, you were in advertising for Channel 8 and then worked with me for a number of years. But your dream had always been to publish a book, but go the whole way. So it's an incredibly difficult thing to do that. How did you get an agent? How did that start?
You know, that was really my goal. So when I did leave my corporate job, and yes, I went to work with you, which was absolutely perfect, but my goal was to write my second book. And I spent 3 years writing this book of short stories. And then I had gotten the advice from another woman at the Nevada Lit Crawl that the best thing you can do is get an agent, because my first book was published by a small independent press, and she did a beautiful job. They did a beautiful job, but they didn't have the ability to distribute. So therefore, 200 of my best friends, including you, bought that first book. So I knew that I needed to get an agent, because with traditional bigger publishers, they won't look at your manuscript. They would get too many. They only work with agents that qualify the good stories or the good books that they think, and then they work with those agents and they'll talk to them. So I put my efforts towards getting an agent, which is not necessarily easier than getting a publisher, but if you do get the agent, then they can talk to the real publishers, the bigger publishers that have the distribution abilities. So that is what I did, was focus on that.
Okay, so what goofy things happen along that route? Because I can imagine that a lot of agents are like, never mind. Short stories, probably not the biggest thing this year.
Absolutely.
How did you get to the one that was going to be the one that made the difference?
Well, I do think that that getting a publisher, that getting published is sort of a triangle. You've got to have 3 parts to it. You have to have some talent, right? You have to be able to write. And then you have to have perseverance, because in this time around I wrote 75 agents.
75?
75, and I got back 3 that were willing to look at the whole manuscript. And then the third part of that is timing or luck, because you're absolutely right, short stories are not necessarily the hottest thing on the market, but happens to be that right now they're a little bit hotter. And my agent that I signed with, Kathy Green out of New York City, she doesn't do short stories, but she was in Europe before COVID visiting a girlfriend who loves short stories and said, why don't you ever look at short stories? And they discussed that, and she got home from her vacation and my query was in her inbox. So there comes a little bit of kismet coming along with it. So my advice to other writers, because there's plenty of them out there, is you've got to keep working at it. It is a world of rejection. You're going to be rejected many, many times. You might get lucky, maybe you won't. But you have to have faith in yourself and your product, and you have to keep trying.
Okay, so what did the agent say to you when she finally agreed to accept you? What was her words to you?
I like your work, and I'd like to set up a telephone call, because it was on, via email, and I got that on Friday, and I had the best weekend of my life anticipating that phone call. And then she says, I want to represent your work. And just to make it clear on that, agents work for 15% of what you make. So if you are a writer and you're talking to anyone and they want you to pay them, hang up the phone. That's not how the business works. It's the same as many other businesses that we know. You get a commission. They get a commission off of what I make. So until she sold my book and I got an advance, and now selling the book, she didn't make a penny. So.
All right, let's take a break here. The book is called The Franklin Avenue Rookery for Wayward Babies and Other Stories by Laura Newman. It can be purchased on Amazon and at all the finest bookstores across the state, I am presuming.
Yes, you can get it at any online book selling website. HarperCollins, Barnes & Noble. You can get it here locally at Sundance, and of course at Barnes & Noble, and so just really anywhere.
And in Las Vegas as well.
And in Las Vegas as well.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back after this.
Get in on the action at the Tamarack Casino and win your share of $100,000 guaranteed now through February 27th, plus 5 times points every Friday. $100,000 guaranteed at Tamarack Casino. Your good times are at Tamarack.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you. But we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Get in on the action at the Tamarack Casino and win your share of $100,000 guaranteed now through February 27th, plus 5 times points every Friday. $100,000 guaranteed at Tamarack Casino. Your good times are at Tamarack.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're talking with author Laura Newman. Her book is The Franklin Avenue Rookery for Wayward Babies and Other Stories. Publishers Weekly said, with candor, wry wit, and memorable details, these stories shimmer. Okay, so you've gone from agent to now you need a publisher, right?
Right.
That's the next phase.
Right.
So the first step is unbelievably difficult. You got, what, 0.5% return. because you got 3 callbacks from 75 contacts. How hard was it to get to the publisher stage? And not just a publisher, but a big-time publisher?
Well, the agent, I put that in sports terms. Once I got onto first base with the agent, it was all up to her. She was at bat. And if she struck out, then I would be at ground zero. And I have to say that was very scary for me because she has the contacts with the publishers. I can't talk to them. It is all in her hands. And I didn't have to do this, but salesperson that I am, my husband Dave and I got on an airplane and flew to New York to meet her because I just wanted her to have a face and just put everything forward that I could. Again, that wasn't necessary, but maybe it helped, maybe it didn't. But she's the one who went to bat and she got the publisher. So.
Okay, so tell us about the publisher.
So the publisher is Delphinium Books. And you'll see when you actually go through this book, this is a high quality publishing. It's got it's a beautifully published book. And they are distributed by HarperCollins, and that's the magic ticket because HarperCollins is everywhere. And my understanding from the publisher right now is that the sales are robust. That's her word, and I like to hear that.
Absolutely. So you actually got to meet the head of this publishing division, correct?
I did. I did.
So, and there is a real local connection here for Northern Nevada.
There is. It's Lori Milken. And of course,
the wife of Michael Milken.
Wife of Michael Milken, and they have a lovely home up at Lake Tahoe. And I was invited up there to have a little brunch with Lori, and that was incredible. Obviously, she is very invested in bringing the voice of writers forward. It's kind of an art house sort of publishing company that she started in 1984 when women really didn't do that. And she and her girlfriend, and they were a little bit poo-pooed by, the men in the industry. And no, they stuck with it. And I have such admiration, and she is such a joyful person for me, and it was lovely, lovely to meet her. And she was holding my advanced book, and that's a very personal thing.
Was it intimidating?
I spent a lot of time worried about what I was going to wear. Yes, and I was a little bit intimidated, but the point is she liked my writing, so she already liked me, and I just had to remind myself of that she asked to meet me and she wanted to publish my work, so that I didn't need to be intimidated. But Sam, it's always intimidated. To be on your show is a little bit intimidating.
Well, because we're so ferocious here. I mean, we just attack. It's terrible.
It's hard. A writer sits at their kitchen table. We're not out in public, and so when you go out, it is a little bit intimidating.
So you understand that when people read your books, they're understanding a lot about you on a personal level.
Perhaps so, but
no, for sure so. It's almost impossible to read something and not get a sense of who the author is.
I guess that's true. You do. I would say to that I write my soul. I don't write my diary, but I most definitely do write my soul. This book, as you know, takes place all over the world. And you know that Dave and I have traveled quite a bit, and those travels definitely seep into these stories. That's for sure.
All right, let's take another break. We'll be back with more with Laura Newman, the author of The Franklin Avenue Rookery for Wayward Babies and Other Stories, and we'll be right back.
Get in on the action at the Tamarack Casino and win your share of $100,000 guaranteed. Now through February 27th, plus 5 times points every Friday. $100,000 guaranteed at Tamarack Casino. Your good times are at Tamarack.
Enjoy exceptional value and a comfortable atmosphere at Reno's newest steakhouse, Nevada Steak.
Ooh, your good times at Tamarack.
Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. At Design Outdoor, we specialize in all hardscapes, pavers, and walls you'll need for everything, from wonderful small yards to full-blown outdoor living. And we only refer the best contractors to make your vision a reality. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and because I represent men in all family law matters, women often call me gender traitor, woman hater, and even disgusting. So why represent men and target myself with these offensive monikers? It's simple. Children with fathers in their lives are 6 times less likely to drop out of school, 15 times less likely to go to prison, and 5 times less likely to commit suicide. So ladies, you can hate me, but please love your children more than you hate their fathers.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Laura Newman. She is the author of The Franklin Avenue Rookery for Wayward Babies and Other Stories. Ellen Hopkins, a New York Times bestselling author, said, Laura Newman's stories are a sensual delight. Treat yourself to atmosphere, humor, and voice, voice, voice. So one of the questions that comes up in my house is, we know you, Laura. Where do these story ideas come from? Because did you experience these things? How do you get these ideas?
Well, the ideas is really the hard part, but they can come from a number of places. And one of them is that nothing that you tell me is entirely safe. If I hear an interesting little tidbit, I am going to file that away, or I am even going to write it down, and it is likely going to show up in a short story later. So I do get my ideas from real life, from people around me. And then of course, yes, in my own life, going all the way back, that is going to be part of it too. And then when you're writing, when I'm actually just sitting there, then that's just a creative process, and it just comes out of my mind somewhere. So any of those 3 ways.
Your first book came out 7 years ago. And so with recording artists, for example, people always say, well, you know, the first album came out and it was a big hit, but it took your whole life to write that first album. Now the second album they want a year later, and you've got to struggle to come out with that. How difficult was it to write the second book? How much time did it take?
Well, the first book did take 20 years because I was raising a family and working, and it was just something that I kind of kept at a little tiny bit, and then I focused on it and finished it. Then I didn't do anything for a while, and then I made that decision to leave my corporate job and really focus on it. And so the second book took 3 years. The publisher is waiting for a novel. What a wonderful thing for me to say. And I now, a year and a half into it, have written more than is in this book here. So I'll probably be finished with that within 2 years. So it is better when I have the time and the focus, and now knowing that someone actually wants to look at it, that's a great incentive to write a little bit every day.
Did that concern you, that you would write this and people wouldn't be interested?
Oh, yes. Yes. And then you say, or I say, I think any writer would say, well, you know, my children will always have it. It's a piece of me, and that there's value in the journey. I think any artist has to know that they may not make it beyond their studio or their house or their kitchen table in my case, and there has to be value in that for yourself, or you are never going to do it, because it's hard to break through.
Well, and you know, the truth of the matter is, whether you're a cook or whether you're a broadcaster or whatever, bottom line is you're always doing it for yourself first.
You are.
If we are being honest.
And we are.
And if anybody else benefits from it, that's great, but
yeah.
That's not really the main thing.
Yeah, and everyone is an artist. A cook, absolutely, even someone who wraps presents beautifully. That's artistic. We are all artistic.
All right, so now the book is out. It's available, as we said earlier, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, at both ends of the state of Nevada, and obviously across the country. Are you now on a book tour? Because you've done television in Las Vegas already. Now
Yes.
you're doing television statewide. What's the tour going to look like?
Well, there's not going to be a tour because of COVID.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So there's not. There is going to be a Zoom reading, and I will post about that. And because it's coming up pretty soon, but I don't have the date yet. And so I'll do, normally you would go do that in person and do readings and people would come and listen, but I'll be doing that over Zoom. But I can't do in person really anything.
You know, it's interesting. I have found, and maybe because we have a big screen monitor here that I'm able to look at so I can see the person bigger than life size, really. I found that I have no problem. It's been great to be able to do interviews across the state and across the country with people via Zoom. So I don't think that's a detriment at all.
Well, in another way, the benefit is that people from Vegas, people from anywhere really can listen to it. And I know that there will be people that will come from outside of Reno. So yes, let's look at the silver lining. Sure, I would have loved to go on a tour, but this is where we are, and the Zoom will be what we'll do.
Hey, maybe by summer. Maybe by summer. I was just talking to a neurosurgeon who's head of the Washoe Medical Society, and he was saying he thinks by summer we could be back in business. Now, audiobook. Have you already started recording this?
You know, I haven't gotten any response on that, on whether we're going to do it, and I want to offer, certainly I can take care of that right here in Reno if we need to, so I hope that is coming, but I don't have any word on it.
Okay, so at this point, where do you go next with this? I mean, you know, is it now relying on the publisher to do the promotion to get this out there?
It's really up to the publisher, and they do have a PR firm, and I'm working with the PR firm, and they're sending it out. They're the ones that are getting these reviews. I just had one of my stories printed from this book in lithub.com. You know, again, this is all somewhat new to me, and I wasn't aware of them, and the PR woman actually called me. She was so excited because that's where the New York Times goes to get their information to do their reviews. So of course that's the, you know, the holy grail of reviews is the New York Times, so we'll see. But the PR firm, again, another reason why you should get an agent and then they can get the publisher, because they have the PR firms that know what they're doing.
All right, so for somebody who's watching or listening to this program that has not read your previous book or the short stories that were so successful in the Reno News and Review, without giving away the stories, tell us why they should be reading the book.
Well, it's a fun read. It does go all around the world. It goes to Varanasi, Kathmandu, Scotland, Alaska, Lake Tahoe. So it's a great book for going places, but it's not a travel book. It's just that's where the stories take place. And then I focus on really quirky characters, quirky situations. I have a girl who is starving in Lhasa and because of China taking over Tibet, and she rides a bicycle 400 miles to Kathmandu with a wheel of yak cheese and a side of ham. You know, so I have pink flamingos in Alaska, and just let me look at my notes here. That sounds crazy, but I have a girl who takes her dead brother on vacation. And the cover story, here on the cover you see, this is the cathedral in New Orleans. That's about an undercover orphanage where the nuns play poker at night. So it's not going to be your standard read. It's not crime. It's quirky.
So it's quirky, whimsical,
yes,
with a wry sense of humor.
Yes, yes. All of the reviews come in with the humor. Thank God, because I meant it to be funny, and humor, you never know how anyone's going to interpret it. So, you know, a little bit dark humor.
So what are you hoping for over the next coming months?
I am hoping that people read it, because when you spend all that time writing, it really is a lonely process. Now I want people to read it that don't know me. I hope to get some response. Of course I want sales. Sales will lead to more people reading it, my publisher being interested in my next work, because I would like to continue to be a writer for quite some time. But I want people to read it. I want to hear about it. The words themselves, Sam, and I think you know this about me, are really more as important as the storylines. I might be a poet at heart, so each sentence for me is very crafted. I pay attention to the sound of the sentence as much as what it's saying. So hopefully when someone reads my book, they actually stop and sort of reread. It's not meant to be a quick read. It's meant to be more of a savored read. So I hope people like the writing.
You know, it was interesting that you say that, because George Burns, the great comedian, he wrote many, many books. And if you weren't laughing at the end of a sentence, you had to reread the sentence and follow the punctuation, because then you would get where the pauses were, so you would get the joke. And you could hear his voice in those. So I totally understand what you're saying. It's a really unique gift. Most people don't have that, which is why when one is reading sometimes a lot of books, you kind of get lost in there and you don't know quite what you're supposed to get out of it. But where did you learn that craft?
Oh, I didn't learn. I didn't learn.
It just came.
Yeah, I never actually, I haven't had a creative writing class since I was 20 years old, so no.
Apparently, you didn't need one. Okay, the book is The Franklin Avenue Rookery for Wayward Babies and Other Stories. It's available all across the country, and certainly here in Nevada, Barnes & Noble and other bookstores, Amazon. Buy a copy and buy a copy for a friend, and tell them Laura told you to do it. Laura Newman, congratulations, and I hope this is a huge hit for you.
Thank you, Sam, very much.
And we'll be right back. Brian Culpa Photography was born in the rolling hills of Massachusetts, and now he can help you experience the stunning beauty of Nevada in a whole new way through the power of flight. Flying has always been a passion for Brian, and at Brian Culpa Photography, he can make your imagination soar. Brian has the creative mind and tools to tell your unique story. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
You can now watch Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search for Nevada Newsmakers and become a subscriber. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching and listening.